This edition of iItaly New York is brought to you by...
So what are we going to do at Expo? We'll get to know more than 140 countries and Italian excellence all in one place. We'll discover the world's biggest restaurant. We'll go to the shopping supermarket of the future. At Expo, we'll ask a lot of questions and get the answers from the world's finest minds. We'll take part in shows in a theatre under the stars. And we'll discover that food is joy, because food is life. Expo Milano 2015, the grand worldwide food event is coming. So have you got your ticket?
On this week's episode, People, Vanni Bookstore reopens its doors after 20 years. DOLCE VITA, Sofi Awards, Backstage with Francine Segan. Genius, Fred Gardefeu reviews a different biography of Marilyn Monroe. Events, Afro, an art exhibit at Casa Italiana Zerilli-Marimò. City, 13 ways of looking at the death penalty with Paolo Marazziti. And now let's start with Vanni Bookstore.
Good evening. Today we are at 30 West 12th Street in the heart of Greenwich Village. This place has recently seen a resurrection. It used to be one of the oldest, if not the oldest, Italian bookshop and publisher in New York. It closed down about 2 years ago.
No, 2003.
2003, so it's already 12 years that this place was empty. And just a couple of weeks ago, the Centro Primo Levi came in and started to use this place and brought in new life to this place. To talk about this new life, this resurrection of this historical part of the village, we have here with us today Alessandro Cassin and Jonathan Weisskopf. Alessandro Cassin is the Deputy Director of the Centro Primo Levi, and Jonathan Weisskopf is the designer who is responsible for creating the image of Centro Primo Levi and also of part of the decoration of this new space. Let's start with Alessandro. Centro Primo Levi had an office before, but this is a completely different thing. Why is this different and why is this important for Centro Primo Levi?
Well, Centro Primo Levi for the past 15 years has organized events in various venues around the city in partnership with NYU and many other institutions. We have really focused on bringing public programming on the legacy of Primo Levi and on the history of Italian Jews. But thinking about it, like everything, after so many years of doing something, you want to make a new step. And we really believe very firmly that in this rapidly changing world of ours, the book is still really the main and formidable way to convey information and knowledge. So we decided that we were going to make some books. We knew about Vanni, we remember it when it was open, and we saw these very theatrical and mysterious baby blue curtains always drawn and the dust in the window, and we thought maybe that would be the right place for us. And I really think it's a perfect match because I think that very much like the people who started this place, we believe in the same kind of values, and we believe very strongly in the tradition of independent bookmaking and book selling. And we think that there's a space for this in New York, even in the 21st century.
And talking about the publishing activities of Centro Primo Levi, we have here some of your first publications. And Jonathan is responsible for the design of the books, the graphic design of the books, as he's responsible also for the website of the Centro Primo Levi. These are anything but dusty and old. It's a very new design. Yes. It's a very modern design. And so is the place. The place is full of light, full of bright colors. It's a very interesting contrast between the old shell that contains it and the bright novelty that comes with the choice of colors and signs.
Yes. As designers, we communicate with pictures, with signs, with typography, with images. And the strongest, most powerful form of communication is to juxtapose two contrasting ideas. So it could be light and dark, thin and large, black and white. And this was the perfect space to juxtapose these two ideas, full and empty. Full representing the old establishment and empty representing the new venture of this publishing in its infancy. We left intact the old bookstore, and it's a very powerful experience to walk into history. And then here is completely empty, and the idea is, the metaphor, so to speak, is to fill it up with our new ideas. Going back, you mentioned contemporary design. Indeed, it's a very contemporary design. We like that kind of aesthetic, but it also has a message of energy and vibrancy of a very contemporary aesthetics. And we also are very ambitious because we want to publish a lot of books. And the best way to do that is modularity in design. So we created a very rational design that is very easy to implement. And this design with just a square that is a color code for the particular line of books translates very well into buttons, which now we live in a world of buttons and apps on the iPhone. We designed this program, and it translates very well for that use as well.
Check out La Dolce Vita. Ciao.
We're behind the scenes, observing some of the judges of the Sofi Awards tasting products. What happens is the products are put out in the category on a long table, as you can see, and the judges are given an iPad with 5 categories that they have to rate. As you can see, the judges take it very seriously. Can I interrupt you for 1 second in your tasting? How are you finding the judging?
Well, this category is especially tough because you're judging a lot of different types of products against each other. This is the classics category. And it's very hard to judge ice cream against a sausage or a piece of cake. So you really have to think about the overall picture.
The 2 weeks before this week, we had boxes flowing into our offices. Our hero is the UPS and FedEx staff. They bring huge hand carts throughout the day, piled high. They're piled this high with boxes of all these great products that you see in this room. The week before, our culinary team comes in with our wonderful chef and their team, and they figure out which products to present when for the judges. Somehow it all magically comes together. These are prize firstborn babies from the producers. Many of these products are from very small businesses. They're food entrepreneurs, they're artisans, and being part of this awards, entering the awards is a very big deal for them. So they're trying to present their best product for you judges to try.
Nowadays in New York City and in America in general, the whole farm-to-table movement has been really, really big. And what better cuisine to showcase local ingredients? I mean, the Italians are fanatical about their regional stuff, and I think that nowadays chefs are doing the same sort of things, and I think good chefs all across America are really relying on their local purveyors, local farmers to supply them with the best of the best. It's been fun to see how many different kinds of great Italian products are coming our way. So many great olive oils. I tasted some tremendous stuff, yeah, and I would say all the best stuff was coming from Italy, of course. I always tell people to not be afraid to take a pretty big sip and to really like move it around in your mouth and make sure it's making you cough. I think that's one of the things that people don't think about often, but it needs to have an aggressive punch to it. It needs to be alive, vibrant, fresh.
We tasted in one day more than 300 products. That was really hard, and most of them, they were kind of terrible. But I'm so happy because most of the Italian products that we tasted, they were really, really good. Everybody love Italian products, and I'm really, really proud that our producers are still producing well. Not all of them, but most of them. I hope in the future to see more salami, Italian salami. We are still not allowed to import Italian salami, but I hope that in the future, in a couple of years, we will see a lot of artisanal Italian salami in the United States and be able to taste and sell for the future.
There's always the pasta, some great pasta. Felicetti, as you know, wonderful products, and we tasted a Monagrano product from them this session, which is fantastic. Unbelievable olive oils. And I was glad that even with the poor harvest this year, people found a way to get you the current harvest. They weren't cheating. They gave us great stuff, and they found the best of a terrible harvest. I am a little disappointed that there aren't more small companies being promoted onto the tables here for judging. There are so many products, whether we're talking about honeys, of course olive oils, we all know this, Italians are famous for this, pastas, those do find their way, but we'd like to see some of these smaller, artisanal, authentic products, whether it's chocolates from the south or from the north, and some great products that just don't see the light of day. When we've done customer surveys at Fresh Direct, the question's been asked, what do you want? What is the thing that we're not delivering to you? And they say, more Italian, more authentic Italian. So that's why I'm out there beating the bushes to find these great products. And the last trip that I took in October, we found some great things that we're bringing to the site very, very soon.
Check out Italian Genius.
The book I want to talk about now is a strange bird, a rara avis. It's called From Sardi's to Sicily, the biography of Marilyn Monroe. I know Nancy as a novelist, somebody who makes up stories. When I'm reading this, I don't get the sense that this is written by somebody who's making up a story. I get the sense that this is somebody who is trying to argue that Marilyn Monroe was actually her mother. You start from the dedication, for my mother, Nancy Cusumano, 1920-1962. Those are the years of Marilyn Monroe's life. And she gives these ideas, these memories that she has, which are incredibly clear and incredibly powerful about being around Marilyn Monroe. She uses the secret. So who knows? If she is the daughter of Marilyn Monroe, there's not enough proof here, I think, to really, for me to decide one way or the other. One of the things I would have liked to have seen in this book is a little bit of proofreading. Things like Calabrese are misspelled. There's a lot of use of apostrophes, and it just seems like a book that was in a hurry. So I'm not sure, and knowing that she has published books before, I want to go with the idea that this is intended to be this way. It's intended to be rushed, a story. I mean, if Marilyn Monroe had been my mother and I had just found out about it and it had been hidden from me most of my life, I definitely would have been in a rush to get the story out and not that much worried about the form as opposed to the content. If it's not true, then it is even better than if it is true. If it's not true, then the imagination that went into the creation of this story is absolutely, to me, worth every minute of reading it, even though you're stepping through some grammatically problematic, some things that get repeated from one chapter to another. So I don't know quite how to take this book, except I found it incredibly interesting. I read it from cover to cover, and whether it's true or not really, to me, makes no difference. She's written plays, and actually put one of the plays inside this book. The play here is an interviewer with Nancy Miracle. It's called Here I Am, Mother, The Real Story of Marilyn Monroe, which is the play. It's a one-woman show with two main characters and actresses. So I'm not telling you to believe it or not, but I'm telling you I think it's a very interesting read. And Nancy, if you are, and you really think you are the daughter of Marilyn Monroe, I give you credit. True or not true makes no difference. Crazy or not crazy, the author has created a book worth talking about.
These are the events around town.
He was one of the greatest European artists in both time, and he was called with Picasso, Tamayo, and Miro, and other artists to do the mural at UNESCO in Paris. He moved to New York, to United States in 1956. American collectors and American Museum bought his art. He became very friendly with several artists of that period, like de Kooning, Klein, Dibbencon, Gaston, that they loved him and respected him very much. And actually he became a focal point for them when we were traveling to Rome, and he was the one who was helping them, introducing them to Italian art and to direct them.
Afro was born in 1912. He started very young. At 16 years old, he already participated in a group exhibition, and especially thanks to his brothers Mirko Basaldella, the sculptors, he started to participate to the artistic contest of Italian pre-war situation. He studied in Venice, and then he go to Rome, where he have his first solo show in 1937. He participated at Arte Nuova, Gruppo delle Arti, and then in the famous Gruppo degli Otto in 1952.
What's really interesting and an opportunity about this exhibition tonight is that you really get to see some different phases of Afro's career. So he started early in his career with the Scuola Romana and was very influenced by them and was painting in a figurative manner and a muted palette, but then moved into a more geometricized abstraction in the 40s. Then only in the 50s did he move to the more lyrical abstraction, highly colored, more gestural, with which he gained fame. And here tonight we're able to see both of those phases of his career, and it's a nice opportunity to see it here alongside some of the jewelry in which paralleled those same movements in painting. So in his jewelry you'll see figuration, but you'll see total abstraction. And it's really nice to see them here together.
This exhibit at Casa Italiana, there is this painting behind my back that is the final sketch of the boy with Turkey that is at the Museum of Modern Art. And there are 3 sketches for this painting. And then there are several of lithographs from the 50s up to more recent in the 70s. And some of these exemplars are exhibited in some of the museums in the United States.
He used old tradition to be modern. So the preparation of the color, all the things he needs to do the painting, it's a Venetian way. He takes the past and he brings it to the future.
He was one of the first Italians to start coming to the United States and developing relationships here after the war. And he was quite adept at courting significant collectors, but also really establishing invaluable relationships with other artists, both American and Italian. And he really believed in this artistic exchange and dialogue, and I think enjoyed incorporating that into his work.
So let's see what's happening around the city.
This is a book to understand what it is about. And the fact that I was an Italian, an outsider, maybe it was a strange position, but today I think that it was a way of having the chance and the opportunity to have a larger view. And this view is for each American, not just for those who oppose the death penalty. I found myself involved in fighting against the death penalty because there was a death row inmate from Livingston, Texas, that had written a letter to Italian media trying to find pen pals. And a friend of mine started to be a pen pal. So this is the reason why I found myself with the Community of Sant'Egidio involved in the battle against the death penalty, and at the same time going to Livingston, Texas, on death row. When I came out from death row in Texas, I felt that there was an incredible injustice that I was alive, because inside death row there is so much humanity. These 13 ways of looking at the death penalty is a sort of debt of friendship and a gift to America to try to communicate something about the meaning of life, how much life is wasted by giving the death penalty to people. And it is 13 angles, because sometimes we think only the problems of the victims, which is true, and the family members of the victims, but we never think that there are other victims that are the family members of the person that is executed, the children. What did they do wrong? And we do not know sometimes that there are many family members of the victims that do not want another death. There are people who spent 10, 20 years, 30 years as a person exonerated just a few days ago here in the United States that are innocent and saw their life taken for no reason by the state. In the book there are the stories and the conversation with some of these friends of mine, like Nick Yaris. He spent more than 20 years on Pennsylvania death row, and when I met him, I said, well, I'm sorry for you, Nick, so many years. And he answered, why? I'm alive. I was a jerk. I learned so many things. I did not let them take my life. I spent more than 8,000 days on death row. I read more than 6,000 books. People do not think that these people are human beings. And so I think that this is a book to understand that America is not isolated in the world. The world is changing. And the world is changing means that this affects America. This is a book to create bridges and to help Americans to understand how America can be more America without the death penalty, because it is not part of the identity. It can be part of some bad habits, but not of being Americans, and not of being democratic America. Whatever has been done, society must never be lower to the level of a killer. And when the state kills, it doesn't give, it's not just retribution. The state kills in the name of each of us, also of those who oppose the death penalty. We must help our society not to legitimate, in any case, a culture of death. And when the state kills, it says that under special circumstances, you can kill. I think that what now is happening with Pope Francis, that is speaking so openly against the death penalty, is something that can help everyone, every state, and also America. This book contains also a personal pilgrimage through America, and not many Americans have done the same pilgrimage, and not many Americans entered death row.
Coming up on next week's episode, People, a new life for Vanni Bookstore. Dolce Vita, Cebeto, a new location for espresso on 6th Avenue. Events, Pulse Art, a contemporary art fair. City, in conversation with Renzo Piano, Whitney Museum, and more.
This edition of iItaly TV was brought to you by Colavita Extra Virgin Olive Oil, and Cirio chopped tomatoes.